Authorities closed several major highways in northwest Minnesota Saturday morning as a winter storm brought a snowstorm to the region. Strong winds and a snowstorm created terrible conditions for drivers, as well as reduced visibility to tens of meters. This led to numerous accidents and blocking the roadway by vehicles. The tracks will remain closed until traffic conditions improve. Unfortunately, there were consequences. Several people were injured and were taken to hospitals. They had already received medical attention. The authorities are urging local residents to refrain, if possible, from traveling by private vehicles until Monday in order to avoid getting into emergency situations. Belgium and the Netherlands, among other European countries, suffered from a powerful hurricane that felled trees and tore off building elements. In the Belgian Tour, a construction crane fell after gusts of wind, damaging a hospital building where people were staying. Preliminary reports of many injured. The details are still unknown. In the city of Ransart, a fragment of a building collapsed on two parked cars, trapping one child inside. Rescuers make dozens of trips across the country to remove fallen trees and torn roof elements. In the Netherlands, the wind force in some places reaches 141 kilometers per hour. There are reports of 3 deaths as a result of falling trees. Rail traffic was stopped in almost all of the Netherlands. All passengers were evacuated from Amsterdam Central Station as the wind blew parts of the glass roof down. For the same reason, the Delft railway station was closed. Parks were closed to the public in the Dutch capital. Shopping centers were closed in Rotterdam. For security reasons, the Hohe-Verloof National Park was also closed. The containment rate of an airport fire burning east of Bishop in Inyo County jumped to 30% on Friday, according to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. Street destroyed 4,500 hectares of land. The fire is the largest fire in the state in a year so far. Firefighters continued to work successfully through the night, despite freezing overnight temperatures. More than 700 firefighters and volunteers take part in extinguishing the fire. Complete containment of the fire is predicted by the 24th of February. There were no reports of casualties or structural damage. Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil's southernmost state, experienced a massive hail today. Hail has affected several regions of Alto Vale and the Northern Plateau. Published images and videos of eyewitnesses of the event show the consequences of the rampage of the elements. Individual hailstones reached sizes of 5 or 6 centimeters in diameter. The Civil Defense issued a yellow weather warning for high winds and large hail. After the passage of this storm in the region, more than 200 people turned to the Civil Defense Service and the city authorities with a request to provide tarpaulins to cover the roofs in the city. Hail damage is currently being assessed. According to eyewitnesses of this event, hail fell for about 15 minutes. Following Hurricane Dudley, another one hit the UK, Eunice, which forecasters call the strongest in the last 30 years. In the southwest of England and South Wales, wind gusts reached 44 meters per second, and the maximum wind gust was 53 meters per second. It's just a monstrous wind force that tears roofs off houses, uproots trees. People were advised to stay at home, lock doors and windows, and keep cars in garages. 3 people died. Many houses were left without roofs and without electricity. A powerful wind damaged the roof of the famous Millennium Dome in London. Millions of people in Britain have been advised not to leave their homes. The Met Office has issued the highest red alert for London, the southeast and east of England. Despite strong winds, London airports continued to receive aircraft, although many flights were cancelled. Forest fires broke out in Paraguay in record heat. The country faced more than 5,000 fires. Yellow and acrid smoke has already reached the capital, greatly deteriorating air quality. According to official figures, fires were seen in at least 5 protected forest areas, of which 70% of the Cerro Cora National Park, of great ecological and historical importance with an area of 5,800 hectares, were engulfed in flames. As a result of the drought, the Parana River, the second longest waterway in the Americas, which flows through Brazil, Paraguay and Argentina, has fallen to its lowest level in 77 years. It's not just flora that is at risk. These places are known for being home to hundreds if not thousands of species of animals and insects, some of which are practically not found in other parts of South America. The municipality of San Pablo, in northern Colombia, suffered from heavy rains, which in turn caused floods. The maximum flood level did not exceed 60 centimeters. Landslides were observed in some areas of the city. A strong stream of water washed away cars and motorcycles parked on the streets. There were no victims and injured, as well as missing persons, not counting material damage. A mixture of water, dirt, stones got into the houses of local residents. Some areas were left without electricity. The authorities of the region sent personnel and heavy equipment to clear roads and provide assistance to affected local residents. The evacuation of the inhabitants was not required. Our star is going through a rather stressful time. Over the course of a month, the sun went through a series of powerful eruptions, plasma fragments scattered throughout space. One of the strongest was a coronal mass ejection and solar flare on the far side of the sun on February 15. The eruption belonged to the most powerful category, an X-class flare. According to Space Weather Live, the sun flared every day during February, with several flares observed on some days. The sun ramps up its activity during solar maximum, the most dynamic part of its cycle. Now there are 111 sunspots on the sun, but not all of them will actively erupt. The solar maximum is expected in July 2025. In 2020, scientists found evidence that we are entering the strongest cycle on record. The strongest blizzard is raging in the Ust-Kamchatsky region of the Kamchatka Territory, Russia. A 2-month rainfall fell by Saturday in 3 days of a cyclone that hit the Ust-Kamchatsky region of the Kamchatka Territory. The heaviest snow falls in the village of Ust-Kamchatsk and the village of Krutoberegovo. In Kamchatka, due to a blizzard and poor visibility, traffic was temporarily blocked on the road to the village of Ust-Kamchatsk, where about 3,500 people live. At the moment, work is underway to clear the road. Due to the fact that the cyclone continues to have an effect on several municipal districts of the peninsula, the Ministry of Emergency Situations strongly recommends that the residents of the region do not leave the settlements without the need, and in case of going onto the highway, exercise extreme caution. Now the atmospheric vortex affects several districts of the peninsula. He brought a strong wind to Kamchatka, in some places, a storm. The water element hit the central regions of the Republic of South Africa. Especially heavy rains were in the vicinity of the city of TEMBISA, in the province of Gauteng. On Saturday night, 14 millimeters of rain fell here, and another 23 millimeters during the day. Thus, a total of 37 millimeters of rainwater fell during the day. As a result, many areas of the city were badly damaged. Several cars here literally went underwater on flooded roads. On the Juxski River in the area north of Johannesburg, a dam was formed from fallen trees and debris accumulated in the riverbed. As a result of the violence of the elements, 4 people went missing. There were no victims or injured. In the most affected areas, the population was evacuated to temporary shelters. For tomorrow, meteorologists predict intense rain with the possibility of up to 40 millimeters of precipitation. Storm Eunice has reached the Kaliningrad region, which has already caused trouble in several European countries. A storm warning has been issued in the region. According to the main directorate of the Ministry of Emergency Situations, the southwest and west wind will increase to 27 meters per second. On Saturday night, this storm had already knocked down several trees, including parked cars. In addition, the road to the village of Pragolski in the west of the city was flooded again. In the village of Kulikovo near Zelenograds, a tree fell on the road. According to preliminary information, at that moment no one was passing there. Power outages have occurred in coastal areas. The authorities warn, if possible, to minimize the stay on the street during the rampage of the elements. Thank you for watching the video. Thanks for supporting the channel. Good wind and weather.